Hi, this is Joe Wells from Old Town Key West, Florida, aka Island Joe. When you make it to the island, you can ask most locals, where can I find Island Joe? And they'll let you know where I'm at. I'm going to read chapter 1 from my short story, Plane Crash in Key West. This book, along with the other short story that comprises this book, which is called Key West Short Stories, is made up, again, of two short stories, Plane Crash in Key West and Her Last 7 Days in Key West. I'm going to start reading Chapter 1, Plane Crash in Key West. I hope you enjoy it. Chapter 1, Plane Crash in Key West, entitled Breakfast. It was Sunday morning in Key West. Normally Doug would get up early to make his family breakfast. But after having coffee on his back porch, looking at the beautiful ocean which lay at his feet, he decided he would take his family to brunch. There were lots of great restaurants that had Sunday brunch in Key West. Now for the hard part, getting his children up and dressed. Their mom, Ruth, would want them to take showers and dress nice for breakfast. This would take an hour of pushing to get everyone out the door and loaded into the car. He started with his daughter, Samantha, who they called Sam. She was the slowest. "Sam, it's time to get up," Doug said in a soft voice while touching her shoulder. Sam just groaned and rolled over. Her voice was muffled by the pillow she pulled over her head. "Dad, is breakfast ready?" She knew their Sunday routine. It was a tradition for Doug to cook the Sunday breakfast. "No, I didn't cook this morning. I thought we'd go out for breakfast. It's a beautiful day." Still with her head under the pillow. "No, Dad, please go cook." Sam was only 7, but had developed her stubbornness, which Ruth had told him on more than one occasion. Sam got this from him. Doug pleaded, "Come on, baby girl, let's go eat. I'm going to start your shower." Doug heard her talking from underneath the pillow as he left the room. "Please, Dad." Returning to Sam's room, Doug pulled her legs from underneath the cover until one of her feet touched the floor. It was a game they played. "Okay, baby girl, you got one foot on the floor and you know the rules." Sam pleaded again in a playful manner. "Come on, Dad, please let me sleep." But she loved this game and agreed to get up. Leaving her room, Doug told her, "Now go get in the shower, don't lie it down, and go back to sleep." Looking back at her as he left the room, she was sitting up on the side of the bed, smiling and rubbing her eyes to life. The boys, Doug Jr. was the oldest at 15, and Mark, the middle child, was 11, would not be as hard to get stirring. Doug opened their bedroom door, which they shared a room. He flipped on their bedroom light. "First call, boys. I'm not cooking this morning. We're going to brunch." Doug left the room, leaving the light on to help wake them up. He could hear the boys flopping around in the bed, covering their heads with their pillows. Mark was the loudest. "Dad, please just cook so we can sleep." Still headed down the hall toward his bedroom where Ruth slept, he replied, "No, not this morning. My mind is made up. Your sister is in the shower, so one of you be ready in about 5 minutes to go next." Entering his bedroom, he could see Ruth was awake. He bent over, giving her a kiss on the forehead. With a sleepy smile, she teased with him, "Are you going to drag me from the bed also?" "If that's what it takes. It's a beautiful morning. Let's go enjoy it." Sitting up on the side of the bed, she too rubbed her eyes to life in the same manner as Sam. He remembered thinking how much he loved seeing Ruth's traits in his daughter. "Sam is definitely your child. You both wake up the same way." Ruth looked up at Doug. "I know she's my child. Don't forget, I was there when she was born." "Come on now, you know what I mean. You both wake up the same." Ruth continued, "And by the way, we live in Key West, on the ocean. Every morning is beautiful." Leaving their bedroom to head back out to their porch, Doug thought to himself, he might as well relax and started a process which would take an hour. He turned to Ruth. "I'll be on the back porch with a cup of coffee waiting on you." On her way to the back porch to join her husband, Ruth knocked on the bathroom door where Sam was taking a shower. Samantha? Ruth normally referred to Sam as Samantha. Are you almost done? Your dad has made up his mind and the boys need to take showers. Sam responded, Yes, Mom, I'm almost done. Ruth knew her children well also. Don't you be in there sleeping in the shower. Sam laughed. Gee whiz, Mom, cut me some slack. You're just like Dad. Joining her husband on the back porch, Ruth sat in her chair taking a sip of her coffee. Okay, Einstein, what's on your mind this morning? Doug took a sip of his coffee. I've got a good feeling about today, so let's just go enjoy it. We'll have some breakfast, and then we'll figure out our adventure from there. Shaking her head while she took another sip of her coffee, Ruth had been on adventures with her husband many times in their 20-odd years of marriage. Adventure. Oh no, this could mean trouble. Your adventures are always over the top. Have you something particular in mind this morning? Doug stood with his coffee cup in hand, walking out to the seawall to look at the fish. You've always seemed to enjoy them, he told Ruth. Ruth followed him to the seawall, touching him on his back. They both stood in silence for a moment, looking down at the water. There were parrotfish swimming along their seawall. Now come on, she told him, put that bottom lip back in. I'll take a shower and we'll go on your adventure. Turning and kissing his wife on the cheek, and put some fire under the boys on your way by. Turning his attention back to the fish at his feet, swimming along their seawall, Doug knew it would be another 45 minutes before his family was ready to go to breakfast. He had stood by the seawall for several years with the fish swimming at his feet. He was noticing some of the same fish came time and time again, especially the parrotfish. They seemed very territorial. More came in the evening when Ruth fed them. He was pulled from his thoughts about the fish by Ruth's voice. Okay, great leader, it's your turn in the shower. Walking back to the house, Doug playfully responded, Just beat a guy up. Doug shaved and showered. Took about 10 minutes. When he came from his bedroom into the living room, he saw his family was ready to go to breakfast. I've changed my mind, he said, laughing. Let's just cook here. Doug Jr. spoke up to his father. That's not going to happen. Get your butt in the car and feed us. Doug laughed out loud. Easy, big boy. I'm just kidding. In the car, it was decided they would go to the Casa Marina for brunch. They put out a large selection of different foods, and all his children liked different foods. He knew everyone could get what they wanted, plus a little taste of something new, which he and Ruth encouraged their children to try different things in life, telling them, you never know until you try. They seemed to cooperate most times. The Casa Marina was on the other side of the island. They took the path along the Atlantic side of the island, driving by Smathers Beach. Mark asked his dad, Dad, check out those planes flying over the beach. Dad looked over to his left. Seaplanes are cool. They can land on the water or a runway. Mark continued with his questions. Have you ever been in one? Pausing for a moment, Doug thought. You know, Mark, I'm not sure if I've ever been on a seaplane. I've flown on small planes plenty of times, but not a seaplane I can remember. When I was in the financial world, a guy picked me up in a helicopter one time at the Fort Lauderdale airport. He then took me to a man's house on a canal where we landed on a floating platform in his backyard. That was pretty cool. Rolling down his back window to get a better look at the seaplane, Mark thought out loud, those are cool. Doug said nothing, just looking over at his wife, who just shook her head and smiled. She knew her husband like the back of her hand. Breakfast at the Casa Marina was grand as always. The boys teased their sister into eating a raw oyster for breakfast. She had no fear. Doug joined them, but he warned them as they put a large oyster on a cracker and shoved it into her mouth. When she spit it out, luckily, she was not facing another table because the oyster took flight. Doug told his sons, you know, guys, your sister's going to grow up someday, and there'll be hell to pay for the seemingly fun things you do to her today. They left the restaurant. Everyone was in a good mood, and their bellies were full. Doug pulled into a convenience store. Again, this is Island Joe from Old Town Key West. I just finished reading chapter 1 from my short story Plane Crash in Key West, which is in my book Key West Short Stories. You can purchase my books at Barnes & Noble for Nook and Amazon for Kindle, or visit us at our website at islandjoescoffee.com. I hope to see you on the island.